Today, I will be presenting on a crucial aspect of information security management, the comparison between qualitative versus quantitative risk control practices. We will explore both the methods and their importance in managing risks effectively. Introduction to risk control practices. Let's begin by understanding what risk control practices are. These practices help organizations manage and mitigate risks, especially those that can affect information security and operations. Now, risk assessment are effectively done in two ways: qualitative, which is more subjective, and quantitatively, which is more data driven. Let's First, let's talk about qualitative risk control practices. These rely on subjective assessment of risk. Methods such as using risk matrices, in conducting interviews with experts, and categorizing risk into various types and often employed. In qualitative assessment, are simpler and more flexible, but they come with their over limitations like subjectivity and lack of premise estimates. In qualitative risk control strategies, these are the advantages we have: simple and very easy to implement. These are flexible and adaptable when numerical data is unavailable. Coming to the disadvantages, the subjectivity and potential for bias, lack of precise financial estimates. One of the example of qualitative risk control is to put into to put it into its perspective. Imagine a company trying to assess the risk of a cyber attack. They may interview experts and conclude that the likelihood is high and the impact is severe. However, in this case, there is no exact financial value attached to the risk, making it less precise. Let's move to quantitative risk control practices. This method uses numerical data and statistical analysis to evaluate risk. Some popular tools include annualized loss expectancy (ALE), expected monetary value (EMV), and more complex techniques like Monte Carlo simulations, sensitivity analysis. These are some of the tools which we measure the quantitative risk control practices. The biggest advantage of quantitative method is that they provide objective data-driven results, but they are more time and resource incentive. These two are the advantages and these two are the disadvantages here we have. They requires accurate data and specialized knowledge and more resource and time intensive. These two comes under disadvantages. One of the example of quantitative risk control, consider a company calculating the financial impact of a potential data breach. If the breach is expected to cost $5 lakhs and the probability of it is happening is 20%. The annualized loss of expectancy would be calculated as 1 lakh. This helps the company decide how much to invest in preventing the breach. Let's compare the two approaches side by side. Qualitative risk control is based on subjective descriptions and is less complex but also less precise. In quantitative risk control, on the other hand, provides objective financial insights but is much more resource intensive and requires specialized knowledge. Both methods have their place depending on the organization needs. These are some of the aspects. Data type. Data type in qualitative is descriptive and data type in quantitative is objective, numerical and statistical data. Coming to the precision, it can general estimates and lacks precision here now. And in quantitative, it is highly precise, accurate financial data. What about the complexity? Complexity means it is very simple to implement in qualitative and more complex and requires expertise in quantitative. And what are the use case here we have? The use case is specify high-level risks for assessment and in qualitative and best for detailed financial risk analysis in quantitative. What about the time and cost? Less time consuming and lower cost in qualitative, more resource intensive and higher, more resource intensive and higher cost in quantitative. The examples here we are taking is risk matrices, and in quantitative we are applying the ALD, END, Monte Carlo simulations. So these are the comparisons between comparison of qualitative versus quantitative methods. Often, the best approach is to integrate both the quality and quantitative methods. You can use both qualitative and quantitative methods to identify risk broadly. You can use qualitative methods to identify risk broadly and then apply quantitative methods to the most critical risks. This gives a complete view of the risk both in terms of understanding the nature and the precise financial implications. In conclusion, qualitative methods offer flexibility and simplicity, but they can lack of precision. On the other hand, quantitative methods provide detailed data-backed insights but are more resource intensive. The best risk management practices often involve using both the methods to balance the advantages of each. With this dual approach, organizations can make more informed decisions about how to manage their risk. Thank you for all your attentions. I hope this presentation has helped clarify the differences between the qualitative and quantitative risk control practices. Thank you.